Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we make sense of the engineering that's quietly taking over the world, starting with your local factory. Today, we're talking about the rise of collaborative robots, or as their friends call them, cobots. These little metal buddies are like the helpful sidekicks in the superhero movie of industrial manufacturing. But instead of wearing capes, they're out there lifting, twisting, and assembling with human workers. And guess what? They're actually making a huge impact on how things get done. Here's how cobots are different from your average factory robots. Traditional industrial robots are usually kept in cages like wild animals at the zoo. Why? Because if one of those things gets moving at full speed and you're in the way, well, let's just say it'll be more game over than game on. These robots are powerful, fast, and extremely precise, but they're not built to be aware of humans nearby. Cobots, on the other hand, are designed with sensors and safety features, so they can work right next to humans without taking out half the workforce like they're in a bad action movie. Let's talk history for a second. The cobot revolution didn't start that long ago, around the mid-2000s. Before that, industrial robots were all about speed, efficiency, and doing tasks humans either didn't want to do or couldn't do. But then engineers thought, hey, what if robots weren't just these isolated one-track machines? What if we gave them the ability to work alongside humans and make the whole process smoother? And boom, cobots were born. Fast forward to today, and cobots have come a long way. These days, you'll find cobots in factories, workshops, and even labs all over the world. They can handle all sorts of jobs, from screwing in tiny bolts to welding massive steel beams. And the best part, they're not stealing anyone's job. They're just making those jobs way easier. Now, let's be real here. The big question everyone always asks when robots come up is, are robots going to steal our jobs? Well, the answer with cobots is no. Or at least not in the dystopian sci-fi way you're imagining. Cobots are more like co-workers than replacements. They do the repetitive, boring, or physically demanding tasks that humans don't really want to do, leaving the humans free to focus on the stuff that requires brain power, creativity, and problem solving. Basically, cobots are taking over the mundane parts of jobs, not the jobs themselves. Let me give you a real-world example. Picture a car factory. Building a car is complicated, right? You've got thousands of parts, and many of them need to be put together with painstaking precision. That's where cobots shine. They can handle the repetitive tasks like screwing in bolts or placing parts in exactly the right position over and over again without ever needing a coffee break. Meanwhile, the human workers are free to focus on quality control, troubleshooting, and making sure everything is running smoothly. It's the perfect tag team scenario. Plus, cobots aren't just limited to car factories, they're showing up everywhere. They're in electronics assembly, putting together tiny circuit boards without breaking a sweat. They're in pharmaceutical labs, helping scientists mix chemicals with exact precision. Heck, they're even in bakeries, helping to knead dough and bake bread. Yes, you heard that right. There are robots making your croissants. Cobots are versatile, and they're popping up in industries you wouldn't expect. And here's where the engineering gets really cool. Cobots are designed to be safe. I'm not just talking about your standard don't trip over a wire kind of safety. I'm talking about smart sensors that can detect when a human is too close and either slow down or stop altogether. So, if you're working next to a cobot and accidentally get in its way, it's not going to bonk you on the head. It'll just pause, let you do your thing, and then carry on like the polite coworker it is. Some cobots even have force sensors, so they can feel when they're applying too much pressure and adjust accordingly. Imagine shaking hands with a robot that knows when it's gripping too hard. Speaking of sensors, cobots have some impressive vision systems too. These aren't just your average "can this robot see" kind of sensors. We're talking cameras and depth sensors that allow cobots to recognize objects, assess their position, and even correct mistakes if something's out of place. So when a cobot is assembling a product, it's not just blindly following orders, it's actively watching to make sure it's doing everything correctly. It's like having a second set of eyes. but these ones never miss a beat. All right, now let's talk numbers because engineers love numbers, right? Cobots are projected to be a $12 billion industry by 2030. That's because more and more industries are realizing just how much potential these collaborative robots have. Instead of investing millions of dollars into massive industrial robots that need entire teams to operate, companies can buy a cobot for a fraction of the price and have it up and running in no time. Not to mention, cobots are often much cheaper to maintain since they're smaller, lighter, and less complex than their industrial robot cousins. And then there's the global impact. In places where labor shortages are a huge issue, like in manufacturing-heavy regions of Europe or Japan, cobots are filling in the gaps. These economies need the work done, but there aren't enough people to do it. Cobots can step in and handle those repetitive, physically demanding jobs without replacing human workers. This means companies can keep their operations running smoothly without having to outsource jobs or slow down production. But it's not just about filling labor gaps. Cobots are also boosting productivity. A human worker might be able to assemble 200 parts an hour. With a cobot helping, that number could double or even triple. And because cobots don't need breaks, they can keep working around the clock, helping factories meet demand faster than ever before. Higher productivity means lower costs, which means cheaper products for consumers. So yeah, if you've noticed your gadgets getting a little cheaper lately, you might have a cobot to thank. Looking into the future, it's clear that cobots are only going to become more common. With advancements in machine learning and AI, cobots are getting smarter by the day. Soon, they'll be able to adapt on the fly, learn new tasks without needing to be reprogrammed, and maybe even teach their human coworkers a thing or two. Okay, maybe not that last part, but you get the idea. Cobots aren't going anywhere, and they're only going to get better at what they do. So, what's the takeaway here? Cobots are the ultimate workplace sidekicks. They're helping humans get more done, they're making dangerous tasks safer, and they're driving productivity through the roof. In the next few years, we're going to see cobots become a standard part of factory life, from manufacturing to healthcare to food production, and who knows, maybe in a few decades we'll all have our own personal cobot assistants, making our coffee, organizing our schedules, and reminding us to stop watching YouTube and get back to work. Thanks for hanging out with me today as we dove into the world of cobots. If you're as fascinated by the future of human-robot collaboration as I am, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And remember, the robots aren't coming for our jobs, they're coming to help us out. Thank you for watching, and as usual, please stay curious and awesome.